In this lesson, we're going to talk about GoalSeek. Now, we all know that Excel is a tool for analysis. There's hundreds of formulas at our disposal for building models and scenarios to tell the story of our data. Most of these are straightforward. And that is, if we know all the inputs, a formula can help us calculate the result. What happens when you don't have all the inputs, though, or want to do some what-if analysis? Excel has tools to help us do that, too. The tool we're going to look at in this example is called GoalSeek. Now, GoalSeek basically lets you work a formula backwards. And that is, you know what you want the result to be, but you want to work a formula backwards to see what one of the inputs should be. Let's start with a simple example. Let's say we have a math equation. 2x plus 10 equals 50. Most of us, just by looking at it, could figure out that x needs to be 20. 2 times 20 is 40, plus 10 equals 50. So we know the answer already. In our GoalSeek tab, we have a little template set up for this math equation. Now, at the bottom of this equal sign, let's type the result. It's going to be 50. In C5 is where we want to put x, and we don't know what that is yet. C6 is going to be 10. And actually, C7, we're going to put the formula. It's going to be equals 2 times whatever's in C5 plus 10. So right now it's just 10. Now we could sit there all day and put in different values into C5. We could put in 2, that's 14, nope. How about 15? That gives me 40. How about 25? That gives me 60. So you get the idea. We would sit there and fumble around and kind of go back and forth until we found out what x really should be. What we can do is use the GoalSeek tool. To use GoalSeek, you start on the formula that you want to work backwards. And then from your Data tab, we're going to go to the What If command, click the drop down, and we have a GoalSeek choice. Let's click that. And what you get is a dialog box that comes up, and if you read it, it actually will make sense. The first parameter just says set cell. Well, that represents what cell you want to have evaluate to a certain value. And that's C7. That's the result of our formula. So we want to set that to 50. We know the answer is supposed to be 50. Now, in order to solve for that, we have to tell it which of the component cells can we change to come up with that answer. We want to know what x is, so that therefore we want to change C5. So let's go ahead and click in C5. So we're just saying set cell C7 to 50 by changing cell C5 and click OK. And Excel went through, basically did what we do and interpolated, put a bunch of different values in until it found the answer. It said GoalSeek was cell C7, found a solution. Target value is 50, current value is 50. And it's solved for x. X is indeed 20. Click OK. Well, what would x have to be if we wanted C7 to be 112? Let's go ahead and try it. GoalSeek. Set cell C7 to 112 by changing cell C5. And there you go. X has to be 51. 51 times 2 is 102, plus 10 is 112. So now that we've seen the basics of GoalSeek, let's look at a little bit more interesting example with a little more complex formula. Down below on that same worksheet, we've put in a little grid with a formula that will calculate the payment of a car or a house. Down here we've got the price, interest rate, the term, that's the number of years, then the payment function. And the payment function is taking into account the price, rate, and the term, and it's doing some things to those variables too. So it's a little more complex. What we want to figure out is how much house can we afford for a $1,200 payment, $1,250, and $1,400. We could sit there with the price and just continue to plug in values until we got what we needed. But we can use the GoalSeek to work this formula backwards and get the result by changing one of the variables. So let's go again, start by clicking on C20. That's the formula we want to work backwards. Click on our What If and GoalSeek. And now we want to set cell C20 to 1200 by changing cell C16, that's the price, and click OK. Found a solution. So at $1,200, we can afford a house that's $236,833. What about $1,250? Let's click here, go to GoalSeek, set cell C20 to $1,250 by changing cell. There you go, $246,701. Why don't you take a second to pause the video here and see if you can figure out how to do it for a payment of $1,400. Okay, well now that you've tried that, let's go ahead, click the what if, GoalSeek, set that to $1,400, click OK, and there we have it, $276,306. Now I do have to just note that this is a really interesting example. This is simply the payment on your mortgage. This doesn't include any of the fancy stuff they put with it, like mortgage insurance, the escrow for taxes, flood insurance, all that. This simply calculates the house payment based on a mortgage. But I think you get the idea. GoalSeek is without a doubt one of my favorite features in Excel. It really takes the calculation abilities of Excel to another level. By letting you work a formula backwards, you can really do some interesting scenario analysis. And even though we did show what might be considered a couple of somewhat simplistic examples, GoalSeek will work with any formula you can come up with.